Hello and welcome back to Pints with Pals. I'm Mike, one of your hosts. Joined with me today is Jeremy. Say hi, Jeremy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Pints with Pals.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's been a minute. It's been literally a minute.
Yes.
So today, Abita Brewing Purple Haze Raspberry Lager.
Raspberry Lager. Yeah, my camera does not like me anymore. I think I need to get a new one.
There you go.
The focus. There you go. See. All right, so let's get the cool little sounds going. Ready? Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's got definitely a color to it. So
Purple
this
haze,
whole time,
yes.
I thought this was going to be an IPA, because of the purple haze. I think the haze I thought was going to be a hazy IPA.
Gotcha, yeah.
That is a
I think it's called purple haze because of the. Now this one will have fruit particles in it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get
raspberries. Like that doesn't bother me too much. I know what those are. The other one we drank a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's a pretty color. I like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. So I went with because the can is blue and purple, so I set my my mood lighting, so it really adds to the ambiance, as they say.
Oh, ambience.
That's very raspberry.
I get raspberry and a small hint of sulfur.
I don't have any of the sulfur, but
a little bit of sulfur.
The head is fleeting a little bit, but it was very, very bright white.
Mine's cold chilling.
It might be my water from rinsing out the glass.
Could be. That's pretty good. It's a little dry, kind of tart.
Ooh, I get the sulfur in the can. So you must have poured that last little bit of the yeast or whatever is left over, the stuff. And I can't.
The fruit, probably. Yeah.
So this is technically a lager. So it's like a hazy lager, which is kind of weird. Basically just means that it was cold fermented, using a lager yeast, obviously. So like the result isn't necessarily going to be a clear beer if you don't want it to be.
Correct. 100%. That's good. I like it. For the first time I had it, I was kind of tripped up by it. This was decades or so ago, maybe. And granted, it's like purple haze. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now the can hasn't changed a whole lot. Also, it was raspberry lager. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll try that. And then I poured it, and I'm like, going, wow, that doesn't look like lager. Like Mike just said, it's not. So it wasn't clear, and I was like, it's interesting. But then I drank it. I was like, oh, I kind of like it. I still do. I still like it. Like I said, it's a little dry. Crisp tasting.
Yeah, that's what I think I like about it. It doesn't like leave any. There's the mouthfeel it's not lacking because it's like a refreshing summertime beer. This comes at I don't know what the ABV was on this one. I forget.
4.2 actually. So it's the same as Guinness, right? It's pretty low.
Like Bud Light and Guinness. So like this is a crushable beer with the fruitiness that kind of leads itself to like really hot days. I think like kind of pulls you in, and I don't know. I think that because it's not leaving your mouth, because it finishes dry, it doesn't leave your mouth like coated in sweetness like some I feel like some Radlers and other quote unquote summertime beers. The soft braid summer shandy is my wife's favorite, and that one really leaves your mouth like you just licked a Tootsie Roll, or not Tootsie Roll, a Tootsie Pop, like some sort of sucker or something. So it's the fake sugars, and well, not necessarily fake sugars. It's just the super sugary. This one doesn't do that. So I feel like this is like dangerously
good.
Yeah.
So Abita makes some really good. I think they make really good beers overall. I think they're based out of Louisiana, if I remember correctly. They have one called like Andy Gator, which is like a combination of like two of their popular beer styles, and they blend it together. and it is so good. But I want to go back to the Tootsie Roll because I got a funny story time. I know we don't do stories much anymore, but I'm gonna tell a story. So at this time, this probably be about a month ago. I was at my son's wedding reception, and Mike brought up Tootsie Roll. So they actually played the song, Tootsie Roll song, right? And I know the dance. I'm an old guy. I got up there and I was doing the Tootsie Roll.
Let me see your Tootsie Roll.
Yeah. The butterfly, that's old. Let me see your Tootsie Roll. Yeah, that was me.
Were you doing the Running Man and like the sprinkler and stuff too?
No, just the Tootsie Roll.
Okay.
Good times.
So what are your impressions? Has the sulfur smell gone away? I mean, okay. Caveat asterisk, this is over a year old, probably about a year and a half old too. So I'm just, that's a caveat to which we are going to.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, it's pretty much gone. I've swirled it around a few times.
Yeah, look at the difference in what your head looks like now and what mine.
Yeah, so it must be your water, like you said earlier. Did you dry your cup out, or did you just rinse it and just ran?
I just rinsed it.
That could be it.
Did you dry yours out?
I did, yeah.
Damn
I've been
it.
trying to do that a little more lately, just because I've noticed that it doesn't last very long. My water's fairly good, but I guess we talk about water for a good quick second. So I get water from a town over. According to the data sheet, everything is fine, but sometimes I feel like the chlorine level is low, which is fine as well too, because I don't get any of those weird water streaks or anything like that. But I feel like there's other minerals in there, I can't remember what they are right now, that add some weird taste to beer. So that's why I at least always try to dry it off a little bit.
I actually noticed that in bourbon and ours, because we do have a lot of. So we get our water out of Detroit, so like Detroit city water, and it's got. I don't know if it's a lot of chlorine, but I can smell it now that I've switched to using only the dechlorinated water that's in our basement, because I just have like a charcoal filter on it, basically to kind of get rid of that because of beer making and water. So I drink so much bubbly water. That I'm like constantly filling this thing full of 5 gallons. Did I tell you, speaking of story time, that I found a top that you can plug like a water line into that will constantly fill a corny keg with water, and then so as long as your water pressure is higher than the CO2 pressure, it'll constantly fill it. And then you'll always have bubbly water. So it'll be pulling off the bottom and filling it with like tap water on top. And I'm like, well, that's my next endeavor. I was like trying to, I was on More Beer trying to get my $50 purchase to $59.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like wandering through. They're like, that's how they get you. And so I was wandering through like the like random stuff that they had on there, and I was like, well, I kind of need more. So I was looking for so if you guys aren't familiar, the corny kegs have ball locks. Kegland is an Australian company, and they make a really cool ball lock that has like the press fit I think you can do 8 or 4 millimeter
the duotites.
Duotites. And they're so instead of being this thing that sticks off like your I think I have one.
It's fairly large. Yeah, the two beside each other night and day for sure.
So, like, I have like these things kind of stick off the. So, like, they stick off your keg, and then you have another duotite connector or whatever connector sticking off of here. So you got another probably like 2 inches of space coming out there, and the ones that they serve go out this way, and then it's the duotite is built into it, so like they're super low profile, and then you can like, not that I stack stuff, but if you had the room or had smaller ones, you could stack them way easier. So like I was going to buy a couple of those, and then I think I ended up just buying another kit for beer, or making another kit for beer. So instead of doing that, because I have a ton of these left. Yeah.
Because they're easy. You can tear them apart to clean them.
Right. That's my biggest
Where those
thing.
ones are such a pain in the butt. Like I supposed to at least because so what Mike is holding is the gray one. The gray one's for gas, and the black one's for beverage. Just that's easy way to remember it. But for the black one, like I had to shove my pinky up inside of it to push that plunger, so I could try to at least run water through it. The gas one, I'm not too worried about because that doesn't. I don't take it off very often.
And it
for the most
hurts.
part. Oh, it
Like,
does.
it
It's
hurts
not
to,
a very
like-
easy thing to shove in. Yeah.
So I actually bought the little like connector, so you can like connect two of them together. So you can just have like one that's open, and then I can shove it on there, and it works. So.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Oh, that might have been what I had to
idea.
buy because I think that was like $9 or something. So I think I bought that.
Gotcha. Before we get too far into this episode, let's go to rating. I'm not sure how long we've been talking, but it feels like it's been a hot minute.
Roughly 10 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to give this a 4.2, but I'm kind of biased. I do actually like this beer. I think it's really, really good, but I'm also a fan of Abita as well, too, so could be a little more biased.
I think your biasy is making me think that I'm rating this too high because I'm going to go with like a 4.4.
4.4? Go 4.4. If you feel like a 4. I don't think we've ever had a 4.4. No.
Not this season.
No, not at all. I mean, we had a 4.7 by Mike for Orville, but Orville's is a beer, a breed of its own for sure.
Jason gave that a 5.
Yeah, go watch that episode if you haven't seen it yet. It's really good. It's the first time Jason has ever had one. I think it's Mike's second or third one.
Second
right?
one. Yeah.
Second one? Yeah, I can tell you how many I've had so far.
We'll never not have one. So, like, we will cut into it and like we'll just shove it in every year. And we're going to try the Orville from last year or the year before or whatever. I think I'm going to try and get a bigger bottle of it. I did leave the yeast cake that I had left over in my fridge, and I'm like, do I try and like culture or cultivate the yeast?
Yeah. I do dredges
and like and then maybe make like a 2 or 3 gallon batch with like keep kind of brewing it or building it up. I'm like, I don't know if you could do that with one beer, but that'd be a fun experiment. Like constantly feeding it.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would be very interesting.
So did you have a recipe for any of this kind of stuff?
I do have a recipe for this one. I've not tried it. Something I've talked about in previous episodes, I believe, or if not, I've definitely talked to Mike off and on about it. So again, though, so this one's a little more simpler of a recipe for sure. So this would make about a 5 gallon batch. And I want to talk about batch sizes here shortly after I get done with this one. So this one's going to take, for base malts, we're going to use 3 pounds of pale wheat and then 5 pounds of Pilsner malt. I want a little more body on mine, so that's why I'm going with the wheat side of stuff. So we're going to use 1 hops. It's either you can use 1.5 of Tetnay or 1.5 ounces of Saaz. It's kind of your choice on kind of where you want to go with it. I think Tetnay would be a little bit better. Saaz might impart too much peppery notes to it.
Right, I was going to say, I've never had Saaz as the full boil. I feel like that might...
I have before.
Did you?
It turns out okay. It's not too bad, yeah. For yeast, I'm going to go with one I've used before. Of course, I pressure from it. So it would be the W3470 by Saf L, I think is what it's called. Or
that's a dry yeast?
Yeah, it's a dry yeast, yep. Or just use whatever your favorite one is. If you have the equipment to properly lager or pressure from it like I like to. And then what I would do, I would add frozen crushed raspberries for about the last 5 to 7 days. So let's say this takes 2 weeks to ferment. So I would say for at least the last week or last 5 days of the second week, I would pitch it into the fermentation, which is probably slowed down quite a bit, which would probably kick back up once you add all the stuff into it. And then after that, I would rack it or keg it, depending on what you would do. I would keg this. So I'm thinking, in theory, there should be enough color and flavor to impart into the beer. If not, I don't have this in the notes. It's just going to pop in my head. I do have raspberry extract. I can always add that to it as well, too, if it's not enough raspberry there. But this is not a very powerful raspberry flavor. Like I think it's more nose than it is taste.
I was going to say, I think that's That I was wondering about how much do you think frozen crushed raspberries for a 5 gallon?
I trying to remember what size I saw at the grocery store. I was just there today, actually. Is it a pound?
Just like one,
ounces?
like
one of the two.
one of the bigger packages.
Just one big frozen bag, basically, of the frozen stuff. Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, too, while we're on the subject of home brewing, if you had an extra freezer, would you be able to lager at temperature, do you think? Or do you still need it to like go through? Like, so if I were to like just shove my, like, if I brewed two, basically lagers that need to be at around 58 or low, like between like 48 and 58 degrees. So I'd probably set it around like 55, I think. Sure. Depending on whatever yeast strains are, like trying to split the difference. But if I just shoved it in there and left it sitting at that temperature, like having it, I can have if I had a drop tube, I'd do that. But you think that that's enough to keep up with the fermentation temperatures? Or do you think I should also, would there be any harm in also pressure fermenting it? Or do you think that
at the same time?
Yeah.
I've yet to see anybody do both. It's one or the other.
Right.
Right.
I'm just worried that if I can't keep up with it, if I can't keep up with the temperature.
So the freezer should be able to go, because the freezer should go to, 32 degrees or less, right? Because it keeps things frozen, right? So I think two ways to kind of keep up with it. You could use I'm drawing a blank. I can see them as the thermometers that you just kind of keep in the deep freezer to keep it at the 55 degrees, or you can buy a 2-hole bong and get a thermal well. So the one hole would be for the airlock, and the other one would be your thermal well. And you would put the probe down in there. That way you can get a better reading of it. Or if you have more sophisticated thermometer that's Bluetooth, you could actually spend $125 and buy what's called a tilt hydrometer and program it to use Bluetooth, and that will kick it on and off until it gets done. So there's probably 3 solutions you could do. One's cheap to all the way to pretty expensive.
Well, the issue is I'm trying to brew in
freezer.
Well, I bought a second one just because it was on sale. I got it for like $100, like during Black Friday. I think I got it for like $130 or something. Cheap. Yeah. And it's a 5 cubic feet one. I could fit 2 Cordy kegs next to each other, like diagonally in it. So I was going to just do that and then have them both doing it. And I was kind of worried that maybe it wouldn't keep up, but I guess you're right. Like it should be able to. It'll just stay on, and it'll definitely. I probably should put some more liquid in there to like have more mass, but I don't have, because it's a corny keg. I don't have another place to put like the extra long dip to or whatever it is.
I was gonna say, because if you do a keg, keg would be fine as well too. I mean, if not, you can always use your all-rounder or whatever it is that you have. You can put that in there as well too.
Right. But I wanted to do, because I have two lager recipes that I'm gonna brew soon. So I kind of want to just do them both at the same time, and then have them going at the same time, and hopefully the heat that's generated by the yeast doesn't overpower the freezer.
I think the only thing you'd have to look up is like what is the min high range of that yeast. So let's say it's 60 degrees at 55, so you may want to bump it down to 52 or whatever, and then within like 2 or 3 days bump it up to 55, because I've seen that more often than not when I read lager recipes. Like they start lower and then they just kind of ramp it up just a little bit as time goes on.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because like so for like background behind the curtain kind of stuff, I've been using my cell phone to record because the camera was way better, and I just was like getting sick of like setting up 2 cameras and doing all this other kind of shit. So I switched to a better webcam. That's why it looks different, and it like changes color all the time and autofocuses and stuff. But
that's what it wants to do.
Yeah. So I got an app ink or the stuff for Inkbird.
An Inkbird,
so
yeah.
you can see the two things. And then the cool thing about it, and it just makes me nerdy, is they have like a graph of like temperature. So like you can kind of watch it like go up and down, up and down, up and down a bunch. So like I use them both. I have one that's Bluetooth, and I regret buying this one, but I didn't start using it until it was already too late to take it back. But I do like that the data sheet from this one will tell you or show you when it's heating or cooling. So it'll like highlight it red. It's taking a really long time to load. It'll highlight it red if it's heating, or orange if it's heating, and blue if it's cooling. So it's kind of
cooling. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's kind of nice to see that you can get it very granular. But when I was cold crashing my 2 last beers, I was using one that I could like set, and I would just set an alarm for every 12 hours and lower it like 3 degrees Celsius because I couldn't figure out what that equivalent was in Fahrenheit. But I just was following that like regimen or whatever, and it was really nice to kind of watch it and see like what you're getting from it, and kind of seeing all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice.
Right.
And they're really cheap now.
They go on sale like all the time, which I think is kind of crazy. So I usually just wait for a good deal. I have 2. Don't have any Bluetooth ones yet.
I wouldn't get the Bluetooth one. Well, unless it can connect to the like other stuff. I don't like it.
I think I can connect it to Brewfather. Oh, well, there's a lot of Bluetooth stuff I can connect to Brewfather. So I wouldn't be surprised if Inkberg would be one of them. I've debated about buying a tilt hydrometer for quite a while now, but that's $125, I think. $135 one, but one of the two. So
and
it's
then
not
you can only
cheap. Oh, so yeah, I can use it over and over and over again, but I can only use it once while I'm fermenting. But that gives you it tells you exactly when basically a stops is done. So like the rule of thumb, like I've told Mike, and I'm sure Mike's watched a bunch of videos or read a bunch of stuff, is like, just wait 2 weeks. Well, that stuff could have been done for a week, right? You could have already racked it, put it into the bottle lid, put it into a keg, you already had it going. I don't mind waiting. I'm not really that big of a hurry. I'm not turning out that much beer as much as this year as like I wanted to. Make it really busy. But I still think it's a neat device. Now, you can build your own. You can buy all the parts. You solder everything onto it. You have to figure out how to balance it in the tube. You have to calibrate it with sugar, water, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get nerdy, Mike, that'd be a project for you to do. That's nerdy. No.
No, I would get the wrapped one. Is that the one that's that Kegland makes? Is Tilt?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think it's did by them. But so back to Abita. I think Abita beers are great. This is a delicious beverage. I'm almost done with mine.
I know. I'm like, we're going to have to wrap this episode up. Otherwise, I'm not having anything to cheers with.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, Mike, kick off your sign off.
Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to go have a pint with your pals.
Please drink responsibly. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what your favorite Abita beer is. And if you try this one, what do you think of it? Did we score too high? Did we score too low? Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.